Well, hi there. As you may be able to hear, I'm on a very Roman field. Kath has very kindly invited me out to one of her fields, and I have rarely been on such an exciting bit of land. The pottery, the brickwork, the tiling, the constant dugga of the machine. I mean, it's a really Roman area. I mean, it's a proper Roman field. It's been detected on a lot over the years apparently, but it very rarely gets a proper deep plough. And I didn't record anything for the first hour and a half. I just collected pottery, collected tiling, and found about 16 Roman coins. They were a lot of them a bit grotty, but a couple of absolutely fabulous ones I'll show you in a minute. I found some brilliant fossils. I found a really lovely piece of decorated Samian ware. Show you all in a minute, but just absolutely wonderful. But quite hard work, as you can hear. And that's another piece of really good fossil, that. I mean, it's really sparky. And it's lovely to be out somewhere really new. Now, I've offloaded everything because there was just too much stuff. But I just kept a couple of bits to show you now, and then I've got to get back onto it. This is the best coin I found so far. It's a Constantine with the camp gate. I mean, as I said, it has been detected a bit, so we're finding very small coins, which probably haven't been found before. That, I think, might be a gaming piece. Or it's got a hole through it, or it might be have been repurposed. It might have been a bigger plum weight or something that's been repurposed into a gaming piece. And then this, I've never found decorated Samian ware before. And that's just absolutely lovely, which proves it's a rich area. It would have been a proper site. Anyway, I'm not going to do too many live digs. There's signals all over the place, but when there is a signal, there is so little contamination here. I've dug only about 3 or 4 things which haven't been Roman. So let's just crack on. Well, this is fairly typical. There's a signal there, iron there, more iron there, bit of pottery there, bit of tiling there. I mean, the whole place is just full of it all. I mean, I'd be very surprised if that wasn't a coin. That's amongst the iron. Yeah, just a tiny little, slightly grotty, very thin Roman coin. But you can clearly see a bust on that side, can't you? Facing left, unusually, because I think it's a 4th century one. So it might be a Constantine commemorative. And they face left, those coins. Anyway. Well, I thought we'd better live dig this, because really punchy signals are slightly few and far between. Plenty of the smaller ones, the bronze coin. Hope you like the hat, by the way. Feels a bit Jacques Cousteau, but when it's really windy, which it always is, it's quite nice to, you know. Yeah, I quite like it. And I hope you like the new speaker as well. Isn't this fabulous? Featured very briefly in my last video. But it's just so easy to use. Anyway, let's dig it. There's very little trash in this field. Having said that, I bet it is trash now, but I've dug about a handful of things which haven't been good today. That's all. And it's a big Roman coin. That's what makes that sound. Now, I think it's a Dupondius. I can just about make out the emperor on that side. And there'll be a god on that side. Now, that's the biggest coin I've found so far today. The rest have been 4th century ones. That's not 4th century. That's really nice. Anyhow, that's what makes that sound. It's been a long time since I've been on a field where every time you get a signal, you're pretty sure it's going to be something nice. Really spoiling. Look, more pottery. It's all over the place. And I've just also found this, which is not a complete one, but it's the catch of a fibula. And that would have been really nice back in the day as well. There's plenty of stuff here. And as I said, it's really nice knowing that if you get a signal, it's got a good chance of being something good. This is quite sparky. So nice to have a speaker that works. Hooray! Yeah, sounds like a small Roman coin to me. It's not. It's one of the first really trashy things I found today. It's the end of a thimble, I think. But it could easily have been a Roman coin, couldn't it? Look at that. Same size, same metal. In fields like this, I would have given money I would have just bet my house on it being Roman. But I think that's what it is. I think it's a bit of a thimble. Well, I've not done an awful lot of filming this morning because it's just been too much fun. But how did you get on?
I got on fine. We found quite a lot of coins and various other little bits and pieces.
Yeah, that's nice. Well, show me that in a second.
Okay.
Brilliant, loads of pottery. So I asked you a question, then I started talking, but I'll come to you in a second. Loads of lovely, incredible bits of pottery. Samian ware. This bottle top, yeah, which you think might be Roman, don't you?
I think it's worth having a really good look. There's this sort of bluey coloured ones, and you can get Roman.
It is very blue,
just like that, and I think it's a very good contender.
I haven't found an awful lot of Roman glass. I did find a bit the other day.
Is really rare.
I know. Well, it's because it gets smashed up.
I know.
Loads of good pottery. You've found loads of good pottery. Lots of Samian ware, bits and pieces. Lots of bits of rim. Lots of different colours. You've got the pink stuff, the grey ware, yeah, the burnt stuff.
We've got the whole lot. And you even got some Samian that was decorated, didn't you?
And you've done very well in your pottery as well. But it's all over the place, and it's so exciting. I mean, I know you're not crazy about Roman stuff, but it must. When you're thinking, I mean, this must have been something 1800 years ago. I mean, to have this much quality stuff come out, and as we pointed out earlier, that's just lovely. That's a very fine piece. I think that might be. I think that might be Iron Age. And that's
I've had two definite Iron Age coins off here, and there's been at least 2 Iron Age brooches, so that could easily.
I think that's Iron Age, but let's ask an expert.
Yeah, these are definitely Romans. That's a painted one with the red rim.
Yeah.
And this one, I really wanted to find some of this. This is the one that often has deer and stuff on that are painted on. So it's got like a black section, and then
it's brown. It's like 2 different colours, and it's such a clear line.
Yeah. And I've had pretty much every type of pottery here, and I've only ever had little bits of those.
See, I think that's sort of quality stuff, that is.
Yeah. And then the rest is the more normal, the grey ware and all that type of thing. But, you know, it's a very large mixture.
And I get excited about fossils. Now, these are two huge bits of ammonite. Well, that's the tiny bit of ammonite. Well, it's normal size. But that would have been massive.
Yeah,
that would have gone all the way around. So, I mean, I don't find shells like that in East Anglia. So
and
that's really good.
I have a mission about 2 miles from here, and everywhere you go there is fossils. And I get a bit spoiled, so I don't tend to notice.
Do you know?
But I have to say, that one particularly is massive.
And I didn't film all these because you would have got really, really bored. But I found certainly 12, 13 Roman coins there.
Yeah, you did better than me.
But that's Anyway, should we have something to eat quickly and then let's get out?
We should.
Okay, brilliant.
Get back on here.
Let's get back out. Well, Kath's just called me over, which means she's found something good because, as we've discussed, doesn't like finding boring Roman things. This is why she needs someone to help clear it all out. What have you got? Oh my God, okay. Well done.
No pin, but no
doesn't matter. Can't have everything.
I never find anything with a pin.
Oh, well done. That's very encouraging.
And I've got my girly.
Yeah. Give that a wee brush.
Give it a girly brush.
Roman disc brooch.
Yeah.
Well done. How many brooches have you found here?
About 4 or 5 now.
Oh, that's completely wonderful. Now that would have been, do you think it would have been enamelled on the side round there?
Well, certainly enamelled in the middle. I don't know about the side. I think they are, aren't they?
Do you know what, Kath? Apart from the pin, that's pretty complete.
Not bad, is it?
Well done. Do you know what? Do you know what's really annoying?
Right.
Because I've been over there this morning. Well done.
It didn't
Brilliant.
sound great. It was quite deep, actually.
Well, I can see it. It's just there. And that's quite a nice one. There's so many of these coins here. Must have found, not going to bore you with them all today. I must have found 18 or 19 like this. But that's quite a nice one. That's in better condition than a lot of them. Probably Constantine or one of the sons of. That's lovely. And the soldiers and the standard on the back. Brilliant, just lying there. Just lying there. Just spotted another nice bit of salmon ware, look. Posh pottery. This stuff, for want of a better word. When you're finding this, you know you're on a good area. Because this was the expensive stuff. That would have been lovely. God knows how it would have worked. Someone will tell me. Brilliant. I love finding this stuff. Just all over the place. But look at this bit. Perfectly round base of some piece of pot or other. Lovely. Just imagine who made that. That would have been spinning on a potter's wheel 2,000 years ago. Love it. It's just everywhere. Look at all that building material. Brick. I've not picked it up yet, but I can see it. This place, and I've got something fabulous to show you as well. Now it's just there. And it's another little coin, well, quite a big coin, but I think that's another Constantine. So it's a largest follis compared, well, it can get a lot smaller than that, not in the best condition, but I don't care. Just lovely. I mean, this site is extraordinary. Now that is the Gloria Romani, I think it is, on that side, and just Constantine on that side. I'm sure that's who it is. Great. Well, that's brilliant. And this, look at this. It's the first almost complete thing I've found which isn't a coin. Little bits of brooch fragment and stuff like that. Now, again, it's not completely complete because I think there would have been a ring going round there because it's a nail cleaner. And it would have probably been part of a set of of cleaning things. You might have had tweezers and ear scoop, things like that, and they came on a little sort of keyring type thing. But that's lovely. That's a really lovely one. But as I said, I think it would have had a loop there. But it's just, I mean, when you're seeing all this stuff here, brickwork tiling, all the pottery and all the rest of it, and things like this, you really do get a sense of something big having been here. Maybe just a settlement of sorts, a camp, maybe not a camp of soldiers if they got nail cleaners and air scoops and tweezers, but and all that Samian ware. I mean, there's something. It's really, you just get a real feeling of. I mean, 2,000 years ago, 1,800 years ago, this would have been, a pretty bustling hub, I would have thought, of sorts. Now you're going to have to help me with this. What is that? I'm guessing it's got to be a fossil of sorts, hasn't it? They've fossilised worms. I don't think that's molten. No, that's rock. That's not God, am I going to have to hulk that around with me for the rest of the day, or leave it, go and drop it off somewhere? I'm not going to not take it. I think they're like fossilised worms. Earthworm? No, they can't be. Wow, well, never found one of those before. I found some cracking fossils today. Big bits of ammonite. What's that? Is that more fossil? It's belemnite, graphea, but nothing like that. Gosh. I'm just dropping this back. What do you think it is?
I don't know. It must be a fossil. It's got to be.
It's rock, isn't it? It's not. It's not. That's what I thought. But is it casting waste or something like that? No, but it's not.
No, it's not. That must be fossil. There's a lot of fossils around here. That's just incredible.
I'm dropping it off because I'm not lugging that around with me. Gosh, I hope you're not going to get too bored of me picking up random bits of brick, but it's just this building stuff everywhere. Now look at this. Now, I'm not sure what this is, but that's been purposed, hasn't it? It's a big bit of granite or something like that. It's definitely been made to be curved. Would it have had a hole in it? Would it have gone all the way around like that? I just don't know. But that's just a wonderful piece of, oh God, am I going to have to lug that around with me as well all day? But just love it. Well, that sounded pretty nondescript. And it's not the most exciting thing in the world, but it's one of those things that would have been. Look at this. That's the end of a brooch. There's the catch. Just there. Kath said she's found a lot of these. Very few full ones. But apart from the one she just found. Incredible. But that's just another really lovely Roman sign. I think it would have been what's called a, not Hod Hill. Well, we'll idea when we go back to HQ, but that's nice. Good sign. I was trying to find a signal to finish up on, but this is as good, quite honestly. It's a piece of Samian ware, but it's got a mark on it, and I presume it's the mark or the signature of the guy who made it. And does it say steamer, or it says VW actually, which is my surname, the initials of my surname. VW, I'm not sure what it says. I think it says steamer, but that's just completely wonderful. So we can probably find out who made that and what it was, perhaps. I mean, just the personality or the personalness or whatever you say of something like this, which was made, oh God, do you know what, probably 1900 years ago. Just mind-boggling, isn't it? Well, look, let's go and see what Kath has found in part 2, and I'll say goodbye from there. Hi there and welcome to headquarters. Well, that was a really, really exciting day. It's not often I've been on a field like that. I mean, I've been on lots of Roman fields, but not to that extent of permanent dugga. If you have your day as set like I do, which is completely open, you can hear everything, and that was a noisy field, and we found all sorts of wonderful things, including, and I've not really talked about this before, and that's why I'm doing it now, these bits of Samian ware. Now, one of the great things about the headquarters bits, and most of you really like them, which is a real relief, because I really like doing them, and it breaks up the digging rather. I found lots of Samian ware, and I didn't know an awful lot about it. As I said, one of the things I really enjoy about these bits, I mean, I get to learn more than anyone because I have to do I've got to do some research. I found these are just lying around, so Samian ware is not an uncommon find, but it is a very good sign of it being a good area, because it was, for want of a better way of saying it, it was the sort of posh stuff. It was made between, I think, the sort of 1st and 3rd centuries mainly, especially the stuff we find in Britain. Out of clay, you made your pot or whatever it was, you decorated it, and then you dipped it in this glaze, this very red glaze, and that's what gives it its particular look. Now, and the signed and decorated stuff is not particularly uncommon. It's just I've never found any of it. And this is a slightly different, they call this, I believe, there's lots of stuff online you can read about it. I'll leave you some links to some very good websites. Terra Sigliata is what they call the really posh stuff, the decorated stuff, the stamped stuff. The more bog standard stuff we find, the undecorated stuff, I think the general word for the whole lot is Samian ware. And I think Terra Sigliata is the subset of that. It's the posher stuff. It's the even posher stuff. It's the decorated stuff. It's the stamped stuff. Now, I put it on the detecting hub to show it off. And Phil, very kindly, who knows all sorts of things about Roman and Celtic things, said that the design on this is very typical. And it's called ovulo, which is egg and tongue. And you can see where the tongue is and the little egg form on the side. Now, the egg form on the side usually, as I'll show you some illustrations now, and as I said, I'll leave you links to these websites because they're really interesting. The egg itself is usually slightly separate from the tongue section, but what's happened here is it's just worn, and I think therefore the tongue is slightly less obvious with the grooving around the side of it. There's all sorts of different types, and the egg looks to be slightly joined, but I think that might be because it's a bit worn. And you would have had, that would have been the top of it, and you would have had all sorts of decoration going on underneath there. So it's just a really, really cool thing. I mean, this is the first decorated bit I've ever found, and I found a lot of Samian ware, so I'm thrilled with that. And then even more, the VW stamped one. Now, not uncommon to find the stamped stuff, but to find a whole piece of it, and in my research there's a lot of stamped stuff, there's a lot of different names. Most of this stuff came from Gaul, what is now France, and the eastern side, the German side, and a lot from the southern west. They did try and make it in England, but apparently the clay wasn't good enough, so they stopped. And therefore Gaulish clay was what they really wanted to use, so it was basically imported from there. And we can see now, I still can't work it out. I put it on the detecting hub, they weren't really interested. No one got back to me at all on it. So, and maybe it's not very interesting to them, or it's too common. I don't know. I've never found anything on it. I think it says STIMA. But I'm not sure, and if you turn it around it says VW ALI. I just don't know. And in the research I've done, there's a lot of names and there's a lot of stamps, so to find one which definitely correlates to that is going to be a bit tough. But just absolutely brilliant. All these bits of Samian ware, and these two bits I found on the day, absolutely thrilled. And before you go, now, hi Taz, come on up, come on up. God, you're wet. It's very dewy outside. It's a lovely day. Task. You won't have seen much of him recently. He doesn't really come out with me much anymore. He's just too much trouble. But what he does do, and he's the second terrier I've had that's done this, is he retrieves birds, because we do a bit of shooting at this time of year. And when I'm not shooting myself, I often just go out with him and we pick up, because he retrieves game. Incredibly, as did my previous terrier, pastel terrier called Crumpet, who also retrieved game. And he doesn't do it to bring it back or to rag it or to eat it later. He genuinely, take a look at, I'll show you some video. He genuinely goes off, finds what we've shot and brings it back to me. That's, for those who don't know, it's quite unusual to get a terrier to do that. Anyway, and then this. Now, I put this on the detecting hub not that long ago, and I don't suspect they've got back to me. I have found a lot of fossils. East Anglia is a really fossily area. Most of the country is a really fossily area. I love finding fossils. Before I started metal detecting as a child onwards, I used to scour the fields for fossils. I've never found anything like this. Now, I'm not saying it is a fossil. I just can't think what else it could be. And even though it looks like worms, it probably isn't. It's got the look of casting waste, but I think that's rock of sorts. Now, let me just have a quick look, because as I said, I did put it up on the detecting hub, and I don't think, no one's got back to me on it yet, but I haven't given them that much time. Kath, don't get cross with me. She says, oh, you don't give us enough time, you just put it up, and then tell everyone that no one's interested. Well, I don't know about this. I really don't. It's an extraordinary piece. And just another one of the really cool things we found on that day. Anyhow, let's go back and join Kath again. Well, I'm just waiting for Kath. I put all my stuff back, and I just wandered off because she's just over there to just another side of the field, and I just found this. Now, they're not in the best condition, these coins, but I can see who it is, I think, and that's Claudius Gothicus, because I just know his face. So it's another little coin. Anyway, better go back. I can see her making her way back now, so I'll go and join her. Right, I'm just catching up with Kath. See what she's found in the last bit. I only really filmed part 2 because part 1 was just rushing around having a nice time. Anyway, you've done well on Roman coins this afternoon, haven't you?
I have.
And
I don't know how many I've got. No
you've
idea.
got about 15, and amongst them is that Roman commemorative, which is lovely. You've done well. I did well this morning on Roman coins, and you did, and you've done well this afternoon.
I think it depends which part of the field you're in, if I'm honest.
Did you find that? So that's for those two are jolly nice.
Yeah.
That's Constantius or someone, or Crispus, and that's the Roman commemorative. They face the other way.
Ah.
And they wear helmets. They wear proper war helmets because that's Roma, or it's, the figure of Rome, the goddess Rome, looking all warlike, and there's Romulus Remus on the back. The early 4th century, about 330.
Yeah.
It was Constantine made them to show Rome that he hadn't forgotten them after founding Constantinople.
Okay.
He said, by the way, Rome, you're still important. I'm going to make this Romulus and Remus coin for you. That's brilliant. Well done. And you found another bit of Roman bottle. I'm not completely convinced these are Roman.
I'm not completely convinced that one is. Your one is
which we found earlier.
See.
But that's rather lovely colour. I love that rainbow egress. And then this, which you think is painted.
It is definitely painted. That's on, so that's a paint mender. I've had another one of these the other day that was this same ochre colour. Yeah. And then it had the red bit as a stripe.
Right, it's really, really cool. I mean, that's really cool. I've never found a bit like that. Now, I bored them with all my bits, and your lovely brooch.
Yeah, and the brooch.
That's well done.
Umbranate, aren't they?
Something like that, yeah. Now, what's that? Because I reckon that would have been all the way round, and it's granite or something. I mean, that's a proper piece of.
So I found the other day pudding stone.
Well, someone else. That's what I was trying to think.
Is that pudding stone? But it is a Roman cement where they put stuff.
Is
in
it? Well, and it would have gone all the way around. It would have made a big circle.
Oh yeah.
I reckon.
Actually, yeah.
So it looks a bit like that ammonite I found earlier, but in stone. And just before we go, because I'm so pleased with this. This has made my day. Look on the other side.
Go on. Oh wow.
It's signed.
I hate you.
No, that's absolutely. Well, I don't. I think you've beaten me on artefacts.
I've painted. I've got some.
But I've never found Sammy ware with a stamp.
Yeah,
so we'll find out who that is.
So you've had that and a decorated one today.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's really good. Kath, I really enjoyed it. Has that turned you into, I mean, have you enjoyed that? I know we know you don't like Roman
coins,
stuff.
So I've done 16 coins, of which
even that Romanus and Remus.
2 or 3 that were quite worth it, but no.
But do you get excited on a Roman site when it's going digger, and it's just,
because it's such a beautiful site. There's no, as you said earlier, there's no contamination. There's very little lead. Every time you hear a ding, it's going to be something good. And the pleasure of any permission that's like that is amazing. And there's so much. I mean, we've had between us today probably 50 coins.
Yeah, I would have thought so, something like that.
And we've only done 3.5 hours.
Well, look, I really enjoyed it. That's heaven for me.
Good.
So if you want to ask me back, I'll come.
Well, there's another field with a load of stuff on.
Well, look, do you know what that's
when
been?
that one comes about, which will be next month.
Yeah.
You're more than welcome.
Kath, thank you very, very much.
No problem at all.
And see you next time.
Bye.